Yeah. So when Floyd Shivambu leaves, are you privy to this? Does he tell you?
Absolutely.
He tells you?
No, he did. Yeah, he did.
Wow.
He came to me. He came to me to say, this is what I'm thinking. And I said, you can't trust President Zuma. You have no idea how consistently opposed. And I said,
You've
okay,
been of,
you know
of,
what?
Of Zuma.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? We've got 2.3 million people that are now constituted in this party. Yes. So I said, okay, but, these comrades have a relationship. They've been entangled. They've entangled us. I said, what does the president think? He said, I haven't told him. I said, no, that's fine, but you should, and why don't you invite me? I could have an opinion as well. He said, no, I'll do it. And he did. Now, there are people who go around say, I should have gone at the back of Floyd to run. And that is a suggestion that I'm a gossiper, a wedge driver, or an informant. I'm none of those.
Did he tell you and said it's in secret? Don't tell anyone?
No. It was his decision that he's processing, not mine. It's his story to tell. He had to tell it, and I told him, you've got to. He must do it, not me, because it's not my story. The suggestion that this is some
conspiracy.
I had to run and
conspiring.
No. There's no evidence to this day to suggest that there should have been an alarmist response to that. I'm not a wedge driver. I'm not about to be. I'm not a gossiper. And I'm not about to be. So that situation had to be handled by Floyd. It was his confusion or conviction. If you think it was a confusion, it was his. If you think it was a conviction, it was his. Imagine I run. I tell the SG or the president, and then Floyd says, no, I'm not going. There's no such a thing. Jesus, who do you think they're going to believe?
Hey.
But
and they're brothers. Well, they were.
But are you not bounded by the brotherly loyalty? Like when you guys started.
Responsibility is precisely what I did. Floyd, go tell the leadership.
And it's done.
I'm done, yeah. But you see, he wasn't recruiting me. I don't think he could do that. Because unfortunately for me, it's a matter of public record that I opposed the entanglement of seeking endorsement, of seeking collaboration. I opposed that entanglement. And that entanglement is responsible for the huge losses that we sustained in KwaZulu-Natal, in Gauteng, for having been overrun, overturned in Mpumalanga, in the National Assembly.
And you expressed this to the leadership?
Certainly. I was opposed. I was opposed since October. I was opposed when I've been. I didn't think it was a correct tactic of entanglement to the work he did on BRICS. And President Zuma had a much more willingness to experiment as well with free education. Because fees must fall happened under him.
Oh, yes.
And there's a lot to be said about how the state treated those activists. He was the president. So certainly I think in his era, there was an important work done to consolidate an agenda of the global South.
What did you think of his relation with the Guptas? It's well publicized.
I mean, there's this question of corruption.
Yeah.
These all Nkandla, the reason we're doing pay back the money.
Yes, I remember.
And the Guptas. I don't know that he has had, because of the problems of the Commission of Inquiry, he has not had a chance to be interrogated around those questions. Some President Mbeki went to be interrogated about the arms deal. He sat in that commission, got even disrespected by some white racist lawyer, but he sat there to account to be questioned and interrogated. The questions of the Guptas and all of that remain largely, in my view, open. And President Zuma had to assist the country.
But doesn't the history show that whoever is in power will always feed their friends, in terms of like, yeah, during Zuma it was the Guptas, but maybe before it was someone else, the Russians or
There's
whatever.
always a proximity of business people to politicians who are in power. And then Stenini, they take using the guy's yacht, for example.
So it just feels like,
You know, the politician is using the guy's
what he's doing there.
No, for real. No, but
He's trying to draw me.
No, like, I mean, President Mandela stayed, may his soul rest in peace, at Dostein's house, which is now Saxon Hotel. He stayed with the Manels, who are part of Anglo. And, you know, there's always been cozy relationships between very rich businessmen and politicians. And to me, that's always like a double standard of some sort. And it was highlighted with Zuma, but as I mentioned now, it's been happening long before Jacob Zuma, even with Mandela. And he had really cozy relationships with serious business people in mining and all sorts of business.
Well, we have a billionaire president as we speak. Do you think he's got the billions?
Let's open a couch somewhere. Let's open a couch.
I wouldn't be chasing a couch with money. If I have billions in it. It's very hard.
It's subjective, I think.
The Pala Pala saga makes it very difficult to believe that this is a billionaire. But I think the point about business is an important one in terms of power relations and all of that. So it's something that opposition parties, civil society, the media must always unapologetically question.
So let's move on to our current president. Your thoughts on him?
Yes, President Matamela.
Oh, his name is Matamela.
I have never...
Man, ask the vendor guy in the room. It's Matamela.
Is Matamela vendor?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I have no idea, man. You must ask a real vendor.
Oh, you're not real.
He's a Parktown vendor.
You're a podcast vendor. Pot vendor. Or you're the vendor of the vending machine.
Yes.
You're disappointing. Where's the pride? Do you know Venda is a very important language? It's possibly one of the most cosmopolitan. Because incidentally, I started to think about this very, very strongly. Do you, Saul, have the name for gold in isiZulu?
Oh, yeah. I spoke to him about this a few weeks ago. I did on the podcast.
Do you have
but
the name?
vendors do. Remember the Empire of Mapungube? It was
that
vendors.
tells you because Thulamela, Mapungubwe, Great Zimbabwe were doing gold in the 12th century.
Way before even the Bushmen.
Why people didn't even know how to sail across the Atlantic at that time. So in any way, Ramaphosa, two important problems. President Ramaphosa, firstly, as a billionaire, invites distrust from most of those circles in the left that seek change. It's impossible or almost impossible to think with him, to think about him, or to think of him as somebody that could discipline capital, that could turn against capital if it was in the interest of our people. And in Marikana, the email exposed him because he characterized the workers as not workers, as deserving of concomitant action. He hasn't had that concomitant action on poverty, on infrastructure development, on the problems that we face. We're still waiting for that. But President Ramaphosa has, in my view, this recently shocked me in a pleasant way. I didn't know, I could have never guessed that there will be a situation in which President Ramaphosa sounds like Robert Mugabe.
Wow.
That means we may have to not stick to one-dimensional reading of people. maybe there is much more complexity to him. Complexity. There's no white monopoly capital that could confront Donald Trump and the Euro-American establishment like that.
So you don't think he's a white puppet?
I think that invites a skepticism over those sentiments. Is that certainly in that moment, and it's not just one moment, the Palestinian question. The presidents before Ramaphosa would take two-state solution. The Israelis and the Palestinians must coexist. President Mbeki took it a bit step further at the time when Hamas won Gaza elections. The West wanted to reject them. It's like, but that's a democratic outcome. But none of them had gone the step that Cyril did to say that Israel is engaged in a genocide.
Picking a side, yeah.
And take them to The Hague. Now, I mean, I'm sorry. You saw the relationship that Netanyahu, the president of Israel, has with the US establishment. To do that was even before the GNU. And to continue after the GNU with the DA there, to insist on the Bella Bill, to insist on...
Okay.
Also joined it. So
is it a thing of you found politics or politics found you?
What is politics? Let me ask you. That's party politics.
Yes, party politics. Yes,
party
that's what I mean.
Politics.
Yes,
certainly, yes. I arrived at the university. So the first organization I joined was KEF.
Okay.
Christian Action Fellowship. Because, I thought maybe I can be called. So I can be a minister.
Yeah. Because you used to preach at school, right?
Yeah, I preached a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So one of the first services was I'm preaching. Second week being in campus. KEF, they give us the service. We start preaching. Floyd was in the audience.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. He had been at the university at that time already.
He's older than you this time, no?
Yeah, he's older. He's older than me all the time.
I wanted to say that. You haven't caught up, man. I don't think you will ever catch up.
So that was Sunday night. The very next morning, he was the chairperson of SASCO. And then some other guy called Teles. He was the chairperson of the Youth League. They came to recruit me from my room at Wits to say, hey, have you joined? Interested in the Youth League? And
ANC Youth
I said,
League.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the natural choice. Yeah.
What do you know about the ANC at this time? Like the establishment?
A lot.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a relationship with the leader of the ANC in the Free State, who is my uncle.
Yes.
One of my other uncles, Kaskam Kitlani, served time in Robben Island. I've encountered all these people. I was very politically active in school, in high school, as I say.
What are you guys fighting for at this time?
Student interests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mainly, ne?
Mainly, yes. We had to have a very prolonged battle with corporal punishment on the one end, and the other facilities, township school problems. Then problems of not facilities in the sense only of the building and the infrastructure, but books, good teachers, and have ultimately a very proper relationship as well in relation to extracurricular activities, good sports in quotes. Those are the student struggles.
So how come you didn't seek out the ANC, which was the only viable, really, political home when you got to varsity, when you're so politically conscientized coming up?
So
they had to come to you.
That was my they were overzealous. That was my second week.
It was coming.
It was a natural progression. I came from a home where we sing those things of struggle songs, and my great grandmother, who I knew, the mother of my grandmother, used to pray for the ANC a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to pray for the ANC a lot. Yeah, at home, they were very ANC. The certain section of the family still is. Of course, over the last 12 years, that has had a touch of red. Yeah.
So, which political leader are you looking up to at this time? Is there anyone in particular that you want to emulate and be like this?
I was
guy?
very fascinated since I had a very strong passion for biblical discourse, preaching, praying. And I thought, maybe uNkulunkulu angangibiza. So I was fascinated by Dr. Frank Chikane at the time, Alan Busak, because they could do that joining of political struggle and service to God. Martin Luther King, very important. So these were from me trying to negotiate these seemingly non-related worlds that I wanted to be part of. These were the immediate figures. But Steve Biko, was important. We read Steve already in high school. I read Long Walk to Freedom in matric of Mandela. It was given by a teacher, Mr. Lamola. He's late now. I didn't do history at school, so...
Bro, we were reading about Hitler, dog.
You were...
grade 8. I remember.
The Mein
punished for not
Kampf,
doing homework.
Hitler's book is 100 years this year. It's turning 100 years. It would be important to look back at that book, taking into consideration what's happening with Donald Trump, his desire for Greenland and Canada, the Panama Canal, as well as the situation in Gaza and Palestine.
Got you.
But Hitler is an important issue. Everybody needs to learn about Hitler. Yeah.
I know, they forced it down our throats, man. So I only started...
Where was this?
Hyde Park. I went to Hyde Park High. So I only started to learn about black historians after high school.
That's your point.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
So when you get into the ANC, bro...
And who are these black historians?
I'm talking about Chris Honey, Steve Biko. I only knew them after school. I never learned about them in school, which would have been great.
Tragic.
Because it's our history, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not built like that.
Do you think they do now?
Nah. Still the same.
You should go have a podcast there about Steve in Hyde Park High.
No one will watch that, Chief.
No,
the numbers will be low.
It's not for the audiences.
Okay.
It's for this important question of black history.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, Principal Amir, I'm going to interview you.
Yeah.
I've done this great, phenomenal work.
Yeah.
What's the curriculum content these days?
Yes.
Principal.
Yeah.
Then he goes like, do you teach black consciousness?
Yeah.
And he says, no. He says, but why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important.
So when you get to the ANC, what does it look like? Is it everything that you anticipated? What are you even doing when you get into the ANC Youth League?
I was elected into the leadership and there were, immediately I was on financial aid.
Okay.
You get to VEDS because of NSFAS or scholarship.
Yeah.
So the Sowetan Anglo-American competition gave me some funding, which they keep. You don't get it until you show registration. So I got that. But by April, they cut our funding. By April of 2004. I'm first year. Yes, we had to take it to the streets. Like a big strike at Wits. And to fight for funding. And that's the essential student struggle.
Who's president at this time? Who's the president of NC?
The president was 2004, Lukele.
Okay.
Lukele, it was a SASCO president, yeah.
No, but who's president of the ANC at that
In
time?
the country?
Yeah, in the country.
Thabo.
Okay. So do you
Thabo
get to meet
Mbeki is the
Thabo?
president.
And who else do you meet? Do you meet like the CIC, Julius?
I know, I've never, not in 2004, I didn't. Do you know, in 2002, I did meet President Mbeki because we're part of those kids that were then taken to have a panel discussion with him. But I was like in the audience. We had like,
a discussion.
a discussion, and we held his hand and all
Yes.
of that. That was the encounter with him. And much earlier, he had come to address my church. I think 1999.
Got you.
So no. At the time, you are in campus. Nothing big.
Who's in your campus?
that
Is
sense.
Julius there? Is that where you meet?
No.
All that.
That's Floyd is there.
Oh, Floyd.
Floyd.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is there.
Pule Mabema.
No.
Nah, man, come on. So you remember Julius and the matric, and you only got schooled like went to further study a bit later. So you wouldn't have been.
I'm trying to find out who he was with that we might know now.
Oh,
Yeah, Mbali Hlophe.
Okay.
Most of them, I don't think, are in the public space.
Got you.
Yeah.
How would you rate our presidents from bad, from good to worst?
Which presidents?
The ones we've had
Democratic
since
era.
South Africa's
yeah,
president.
Yeah, since the democratic era.
Mandela had a very difficult task, the breakthrough for the franchise. One woman, one man, one vote. One person, one vote. Very important to secure that. President Mandela, it seems to me, people underestimate this, that a civil war was truly brewing.